Hello everyone, this is Amy Moraga and I'm here with the LynnHealth Podcast and we're going to talk about all things health in Lynn. Today we're here with representatives from the PLTW defense team talking about an outbreak that has happened at the hospital. Dr. Mwangecha, can you please tell us about what you know about this outbreak?
Well, it first started at the PLTW Defense Disease Team headquarters. That's where we were first notified. And we were informed of an outbreak that was happening at GNMH that was affecting patients. So then we had decided to find out how this outbreak had spread and what was going on to the patients.
Dr. Reyes, what has your team come up with your research and data collection?
Well, we concluded that the bacteria that was causing the outbreak was Staphylococcus aureus, which is the agent of disease. People who are susceptible to it are those in the hospital. Its portal of entry are skin and respiratory and urinary tract. Its mode of transmission is direct contact with infected people, use of contaminated object, or inhalation of someone's sneeze or cough. And portals of exit are pus from an infected wound, a sneeze, cough, or skin-to-skin contact. Lastly, its reservoir was the saline at the hospital.
It must have been really tough going through all the patients' data and highlighting what each of them had in common. Dr. Toro, can you tell us what symptoms the patients had in common that made your team infer what kind of bacteria was infecting them?
Okay, so we noticed that majority of the patients had a respiratory tract infection, urinary tract infection, pneumonia, skin infections, and rashes, which are all things that Staphylococcus aureus causes. For example, 3 patients at the hospital developed respiratory tract infections, and 3 patients had skin infections, and 3 had pneumonia, and 1 had a UTI. And then we also noticed that unclean supplies like IV drips were the portal of exit from the reservoir which the infection patients all received.
Thank you. What kind of testing did you guys conduct to figure out the type of bacteria that was causing the outbreak?
Well, we had done a test to determine the bacteria by culturing it in a lab. We did this by sweeping it on a petri dish where the bacteria grew in isolated individual colonies, which can then be used to determine the type of bacteria it is by its different characteristics. We also examined microscopic images of bacteria with a test called gram staining to compare them to the bacteria of the outbreak. These tests led us to believe that the pathogen came from the suppliers and the contaminated IV drips infected the patients. This helped us rule out a possible form of infection, helminths, because you get them from bug bites.
Did your team struggle to differentiate the type of bacteria you guys were dealing with? If so, why?
Interesting you say that because we did struggle a little bit. We tested samples and we noticed that the bacteria looked very similar to Enterococcus faeris because it matched our samples, but we could not directly rule it out because there were so many other options. But as we examined the bacteria together and more carefully each time, we came to see small differences between the two, like the cell arrangements.
As we come to the end of our interview, I'd like to ask if there's anything you want to say to the viewers about the disease and to reassure them about getting infected with it.
Yeah, it's perfectly normal to worry about getting infected. As long as you take necessary safety precautions, you and your family should be safe. This all includes doing things such as washing your hand regularly, maintaining good body hygiene, overall taking food safety precautions, not sharing personal items like towels or razors, and keeping your wounds covered with sterile dry bandages until they've fully healed. It also is very important to stay calm in an outbreak like this to avoid further spread and so people don't panic. Me and my team assure you that these steps will help you stay uninfected.
Thank you so much to the PLTW Disease Defense Team for coming to inform us about Staphylococcus aureus and all that they've been doing to help us as they figured out what was causing the GNMH outbreak. I hope you guys feel more at ease with this information because I know I do. Thank you so much for listening and stay tuned in for the next interview.